This is KTN News.
Well, it is the first day of May 27, first day of June actually, 2017. Happy Madaraka Day to all of you. That is the story that we were focusing on the entire day, of course, that happening in Nyeri today. And we have a team that is still stationed there trying to pick the minds of the locals there. Remember, they were quite instrumental in that fight against colonialists in the history of the country. Also, tonight we're telling you about several aspirants who have been cleared by the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission. I'm Linda. Good to see you. Like I mentioned, we still have a team in Nyeri. We had Zubeida Kome, who has just been speaking to some of the guests that we had there. And then we also have Sophia Wanuna. Sophia, good evening. Good to see you. What do you have?
Good evening, Linda. Indeed, we're coming to you live from Nyeri County. We're at the White Rhino Hotel. And the conversations we're having in the last hour will continue this evening. We'll be talking more about the Madaraka Day being celebrated today in Nyeri County. It's the first time it was being celebrated outside the capital. And some of what happened today and transpired, we'll hear from the audience members here what they thought of what has largely been described as a snub for Raila Odinga during that function.
Yeah.
We'll also talk about the politics in this region. Remember, quite a number of those current incumbents, if you like, were knocked out during the party primaries. We'll talk about that, and of course the national politics as well, Linda. That's coming up in the next hour.
Yeah, like you rightly put it, Sophia, there has been a storm, so to speak, on social media on that snub. Of course, that is a conversation probably I understand you'll be having later on with your guests as well, just to pick their minds on what their thoughts are. This is KTN Prime. Thank you for joining us. Let's now take a look at our highlights.
Uwe watu ambao wataheshimiana na watakubali waamuzi wa wananchi ambao ndio wengi.
Uhuru's last national day before the August polls and why Raila supporters are very unhappy. Elephant sigh of relief as Joho survives clearance by the IEBC to run for re-election.
If he could not manage the Senate, what makes him think he can manage being governor?
I want Governor Kidero to tell Nairobians, to tell Kenyans, what has he done with the billions which were allocated to the Nairobi County government.
Kidero and Sonko among 5 Nairobi governorship candidates cleared to contest.
Atakuwa angalao ako na njia ya kupanga kazi, asiwache kesi kwa stage si nzuri.
And 38 women walked to freedom from Langata prison after Madaraka Day pardon.
William Sila is our sign language interpreter for tonight. William, thank you. Now, President Uhuru Kenyatta has issued a 3-week ultimatum for the Lands Ministry to issue title deeds to over 6,000 households still living in colonial villages in Nyeri. The president gave the directive as he presided over the 54th Madaraka Day celebration held in Nyeri. But as our political affairs reporter Murimi Mwangi now tells us from Nyeri, the exclusion of opposition leader Raila Odinga from the Madaraka Day list of speakers has caused an online storm.
On his last public holiday before the August general election, President Uhuru Kenyatta had good news for some 6,000 Nyeri squatters.
Hii issue ya colonial villages, karibu 150, najua kazi imeendelea lakini haijakwisha. Waziri wa ardhi, mimi nimekupatia wiki 3 umalize kazi hiyo na uhakikishe ya kwamba hizo titles wananchi wamepewa.
And with only 67 days to the August 8th polls, President Kenyatta and his deputy William Ruto pleaded for re-election, accusing the Kenyan opposition of blindly criticizing Jubilee development projects, including the recently launched standard gauge railway, for cheap publicity.
Over 50 years after independence, a majority of us lived in darkness because of lack of planning and the arrogant perception that stima sio ya watu ambao wanaishi kwa nyumba za nyasi. My government understands that every corner of Kenya matters.
Entirety of purpose, from the colleges to electricity, to the railway, to the roads, is for the single purpose for us to industrialize our country.
But it is the absence of National Super Alliance presidential candidate Raila Odinga from the list of speakers at the Madaraka Day feat in Nyeri that has now ignited an online storm, with opposition supporters bashing Kenyatta and Ruto for deliberately failing to acknowledge Raila's attendance of the event.
We've been family friends for a long time.
In previous state functions, President Kenyatta has even breached protocol and allowed Odinga to speak after his deputy.
Wangepea hata baba at least aonge kiasi juu unaona venye alikuwa anaonyeshwa hapo kwa screen, wasa walikuwa wanabambika. Sasa nika walikuwa wanataka pia yaongee. Unaona angeongea ili kwa Madaraka ndio unaachia kila msee anaongea tu.
In the recent past, Odinga has threatened to boycott the August elections, citing a court dispute over the finality of presidential results announced at the constituency tallying center.
Serikali ya Kenya ni serikali ya wale walikupigia kura na hata wale ambao hawakukupigia kura. So mtu asiwezi kuona ya kwamba ati kwa sababu yule ambaye nilitaka hakuchaguliwa nilete vita. La.
With the opposition threats to boycott the August elections dominating the political space, the president's sentiments here were no doubt closely watched within NASA circles as the countdown to the election draws to only 67 days away. Muremi Mwangi, KTN News in Nyeri.
That caused quite a storm online, and that forms the basis of a big question. Tonight we're asking you, do you think it was necessary for Uhuru to let Raila speak at the Madaraka Day event? What are your thoughts? We'd love to pick your mind on that. Do you think it was important for Uhuru to let Raila speak at the Madaraka Day event? So you can tweet us at KTN News, at KTN Kenya, and me as well at Lindo Gutu. I'd love to sample your thoughts on that. So allow me now to bring in my colleague, Sophia Wanuna, who's in Nyeri having a conversation with the residents there. Sophia?
Yes, indeed, Linda. That, as you said, caused a lot of outrage on social media. And we are here at the White Rhino Hotel, an audience that is gathered here. I want to hear their thoughts on the same. And I'll just start with the gentleman sitting next to me. Tafadhali ndugu naomba usimame. Uliona ilikuwa sawa kwa president na deputy wake kutompa nafasi Raila kwa hutubia hata ama kuwasalimia wananchi leo? Nitakushikia.
To exercise the national cohesion and to exercise the national values, we could have given Honorable Raila Odinga a chance.
Yeah. All right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Tusikie kwako tafadhali. Yeah. Ilikuwa sawa for him not to be given an opportunity to speak or even recognize that Raila was present kwa hiyo function leo?
Pengine kulingana na vile ile sikukuu ilikuweko, ilikuwa tu ya Madaraka juu ya wale walikuwa.
All right. I also want to bring one of the aspirants. He's seeking to be member of parliament in Nyeri town. Ngunjiri will part of our panel later. Ngunjiri, tafadhali, naomba we hear your thoughts on this one as well.
Thank you very much, Sophia. I personally don't think there was any need to give the former Prime Minister an opportunity to speak. Why? Because the people who spoke were members of the executive. If you noticed, we had the governor of the county, who is an executive member of the county, and the deputy president and the president. This was a national state event. The people who are complaining is because of the political implications. But then also when you look back, the last 4 years, we have had a lot of national days that he has never attended. And in fact, in some of them, he actually tried to have parallel state events. So I do not think there's much for us to complain about. He
Even
attended.
a mention, an acknowledgement that he was present as a national leader?
There were a lot of national leaders there.
Who are recognized?
No, none was recognized.
Okay.
But they were all recognized as part of distinguished guests.
All right.
I had something like that.
You had something like that.
Yes.
And we'll continue with the conversation here, Linda. Later on, we'll be talking more about, of course, what transpired at the Madaraka Day celebrations, but also the politics of Nyeri County as well. Back to you.
It'll also be interesting to pick the minds of the residents there on the politics of Nyeri. Sophia, live from Nyeri, thank you so much. We'll come back to you in a bit. Right, let's now turn our attention to politics and focus on the county of Mombasa. Uncertainty surrounding the candidature of Mombasa Governor Ali Hassan Joho finally came to rest today afternoon after the county chief was cleared by the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission to seek re-election. It was a chilling experience for Joho supporters during the scrutiny of his documents and the IEBC inspection of his secondary school certificate. Here is KTN's news reporter Francis Ontomwa with more.
This is serious business for me. And
is it a way that you can ask somebody to bring us the document?
No, but why are you asking for it in the first place? You explain to me, show me the law.
From the onset, indications were that it was not going to be a walk in the park for Governor 001 Hassan Ali Joho. His date with the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission was tense and rather unpredictable. Supporters walking in holding their breaths. The returning officer Nancy Wanjiko looked all gloved to take on Joho blow by blow.
We'll have a conversation with you. I'll call you.
I have
so
no...
that we see whether we can correct
no
that.
worries, no worries.
If it persists, we'll do a warning. If it goes ahead, the IBC will call a code of conduct committee to discuss, and there will be penalties, which will include and not limited to even removing you from the ballot.
I have no worries about that.
Things will get hotter when IEBC demanded that Joho produces his KCSE certificate. State apparatus had taken Joho to court, claiming he had forged his 1992 KCSE certificate. End of April, Joho sued the state citing intimidation, a petition that was upheld by the judiciary. He therefore felt targeted.
Madam, this is serious business for me. And
is it a way that you can ask somebody to bring us the document?
No, but why are you asking for it in the first place? You explain to me, show me the law.
You're reading it right.
Okay, read it to me where it says KCSE secondary school. So much skill.
Just give me the certificate. Yes, sir.
I'm not giving it. Unless and until you show me where in the law it says I should give a certificate.
The process will, however, not proceed until Joho ceded ground, handing over the certificate.
Leadership and integrity. Leadership and integrity form. One you took to ESCC.
And when the process was fully wrapped up, Joho breathed a sigh of relief, together with his supporters.
Tunashukuru Mungu. We are waiting for this day, and alhamdulillah, we have submitted. They have acknowledged and given us the certificate that will enable us to run in this election.
Also clear today was Kilifi Governor Amason Jeffa Kingi, who made processions all through Kilifi, accompanied by his new running mate engineer Gideon Edmond Saburi.
Mwenyezi Mungu akitujalia kiwanja ni hiki tutachukua kiapo rasmi kwa miaka mitano mingine.
Even with the clearance of the governors, unless sufficiently cleared, analysts say pending cases in court may hound the journeys to the ballot. Francis Ontomwa, KTN News, Mombasa.
So that happened at the coast. Here in Nairobi, supremacy wars between nominated Senator Elizabeth Ongoro and Madaraka Member of Parliament TJ Kajwang today overshadowed Nairobi Governor Dr. Evans Kidero's rally in Babadogo grounds. Kidero and his running mate Jonathan Mweke organized the rally after being cleared by the IEBC to run for the second term. At some point, Governor Kidero could not manage the rowdy crowd, so he allowed two opposing groups to fight before he could continue with his speech. Take a look.
Ruaraka constituency in Nairobi County has been billed as one of the political hotspots in the coming general elections. And Thursday's events did not disappoint when nominated Senator Elizabeth Ongoro arrived in the company of her supporters at this rally at Babadogo grounds. Determined to have both her say and way, Ongoro, mobbed by her relenting supporters, forced her way to the podium, managing to sit just 2 seats from her political opponent TJ Kajwang. And perhaps with the intention to send a clear message to Kajwang, Ongoro supporters kept on disrupting the proceedings at the rally, occasionally heightening the tension that had already engulfed the ground. And after some push and pull, Ongoro finally had a say. Ongoro and Kajwang went against each other in the race for the ODM ticket for Madaraka constituency. However, the ticket was handed to Kajwang to Ongoro's disappointment. And even though Ongoro will be contesting the Madaraka constituency on a Amani National Congress party ticket, the level of acrimony witnessed at this rally only serves to explain how fierce the duel between the two shall be. Earlier, Kidero and his running mate Jonathan Mweke were cleared to defend their seat in the August polls, where they expressed confidence of trouncing their opponents.
Everybody knows what we've been able to do in the last 4 years with schools, with security, with hospitals, and just moving the city forward as the Nairobians would want it to be moved.
The duel is on, and the other party better be prepared.
Hours later, Nairobi Senator Mike Sonko and his running mate Polycarp Igathe were cleared, and Sonko had this for Kidero.
I want Governor Kidero to tell Nairobians, to tell Kenyans, what has he done with the billions which were allocated to the Nairobi County government by the national government through the exchequer. I want the governor to tell us what has he done to the billions he's been collecting from Nairobians, from Nairobi taxpayers.
National government owes us 72 billion shillings. 72 billion shillings. And we engaged them and him, and he never made any attempt. And if you look at the contributions, I do not think he even made a single contribution when he was in the Senate. So if he could not manage the Senate, what makes him think he can manage being governor?
And even though Sonko is viewed by many as Kidero's main threat, Kidero and Mweke have dismissed the notion.
As the governor, he has failed to deliver. He's failed. Nairobians are the highest taxpayers. We deserve to have a clean city. We deserve to have a city that has no traffic congestion.
The scorecard is there. It's clear. Any mother in Nairobi who's been able to take their child to school through our bursary program, who otherwise would not have gone to school, is able to tell you their story. The businesses that are now able to open until midnight because we have put street lights and the mama mboga goes home with an extra 200 shillings in the pocket, are able to tell you the story.
Elsewhere in Decorate North constituency, the battle between NASA and Jubilee has been drawn. This is after the incumbent Simba Arati was cleared alongside nominated Senator Beatrice Elachi to face off in the August 8th polls. Shadrach Miti, KTN News.
So that's what happened in Nairobi. Elsewhere, the Garissa Township parliamentary race promises to be a tough duel between Majority Leader in the National Assembly and incumbent MP Eden Duale and his rivals. Duale has dismissed his opponent's efforts of ganging up on him after the ODM candidate Nasser Dolan stepped down in favor of Wiper candidate former Deputy Speaker Farah Maalim. And as Chris Tyro now reports, clan politics is definitely going to take center stage in this battle for Garissa. Here's tonight's episode of Spotlight 2017.
As the August 8th general election fast approaches, it will appear that Garissa Township parliamentary race will be one of the main constituencies to watch, given that it is currently represented by National Assembly Majority Leader Aden Duale. Already the contest has taken shape as a three-horse race after one of the candidates on an ODM party ticket, Nasir Dolal, stepped down in favor of Wiper party candidate and former Deputy Speaker Farah Maalim.
Based on certain surveys, certain opinion polls, you could see that people are neck to neck. And even in such circumstances, you say, let us compromise for the greater good. let some of us hold back their own ambitions. But because then we can play probably a better role than we're going to play when we're in Parliament in the new government that's going to be formed.
The people of Garissa Township will dig the political graveyard of Farah Maalim. So they can meet and coalesce and that. But mark my word,
Clan loyalty is expected to play a big role in the region's politics. Farah and Dolal come from the largest sub-clan. Their Willian and their unity may give them an upper hand. However, their Willian are known to pull surprises. In the last elections, they overwhelmingly voted for the incumbent, Senator Yusuf Haji, in favor of their own Farah Maalim.
So it's only fair we as a coalition right now try and take advantage of our numbers to give us the majority in all those contests.
In Garissa Township, my friend, the clan dynamics is bigger than the political parties you're talking about, of the NASA and the Jubilee.
Maalim's decision to ditch ODM for Wiper could be informed by the sizable number of Kamba in Garissa Township seat, which could be a swing vote in case of the sub-clan numbers tie. Another candidate is Captain Abdiare, the deputy leader of Musalia Mudavadi's ANC, and hails from Audwak clan, where Duale also hails, and this could split Duale's votes.
But I am confident that many of them right now who are in those small Jubilee parties still have their hearts and their hopes in NASA winning. I've seen many people who are praying for NASA to win, but are actually part of the Jubilee smaller parties.
Those people, the Maalims you're talking about, the Dorol you're talking about, those they don't play my league. My records, my development records in the last 10 years in that constituency speaks for it.
However, Duale has created a niche for himself, presenting himself as the de facto leader of not only Garissa County, but also the entire northeastern region.
My friend, the way I am certain about my seat is the way Uhuru Kenyatta is certain of winning. I am winning and I'm going back to my office.
Maalim, who is a former member of the ODM party, was Lagdera MP from 1993 to 1998 and made a comeback in 2008. He's set to replace Aden Duale as majority leader in the National Assembly if NASA wins next elections. Chris Dairo, KTN News.
Right, that was Spotlight 2017. Like I mentioned, several governors were cleared today by the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, including Nairobi Governor Evans Kidero, Mombasa Governor Ali Hassan Joho. Let's now take a look at other governors as well, governorship candidates who were cleared by the IEBC today.
Former Kathiani MP Wavinya Ndeti has been cleared to fly the Wiper Party flag in Machakos County. Wavinya will be running against the incumbent Governor Dr. Alfred Mutua, who was also cleared today. In Nakuru County, Governor Kinuthia Mbogwa, Senator James Mungai and nominated Senator Paul Njoroge were also cleared. Mbogwa, who is going independent, has vowed to support President Kenyatta for his re-election come August the 8th. In Elgeyo Marakwet, Uasin Gishu County, former MD Sasini Moses Changwoni, who is seeking to unseat the incumbent Governor Alex Tolgos, was also cleared. Several other candidates were cleared to run for parliamentary seats in the county. Nasako principal, who is also Bomet's Governor Isaac Ruto, has also been cleared. In Mandera County, Governor Ali Roba was also cleared. Sarah Mwangi, KTN News.
Thank you for staying with KTN Prime. Allow me to take a break now as I remind you of a big question. Tonight we're asking you, do you think it was necessary for President Uhuru Kenyatta to let Raila speak at the Madaraka Day event? It's a conversation that is quite heated, especially on social media. Our team in Nyeri has also posed the same question to some of their audience members, and it's an interesting conversation, so to speak. So tweet us at KTN Kenya, at KTN News, and at